Hey, how's it going? It may not look like it around here, but we're getting into spring and I need to start working on the El Camino again. I'm signed up for East Coast Drag and Drive this year in June, and there's a lot of stuff that I need to get done on the car that I talked about in the last video, plus some more secret surprise stuff to get it in shape to survive that and try and be competitive in the 6-shift class. So I've pushed the car over to the middle of the shop. It's just about freezing today. Warmest day we've had in a couple weeks, so I took the chance to do some pressure washing, get all the crap out of here. I gotta push the car over a little more and figure out where the lift is gonna go. This is the lift from the old shop. I drilled the concrete about a month ago and found that it is actually a 7-inch slab. I know it has rebar in it, so we can put down the bolts for the lift. I think I'm gonna have to move my mill backwards a little more, move that tractor backwards a little more. And we'll get started on the car. Don't tell anyone, but I am a little concerned that I might be exceeding the weight rating on these casters. The real champion is actually that 2x6 with about half a dozen screws in it that I'm pulling off of. Now, obviously the most important part of the build is getting the side marker badges to match the motor. So I ordered these custom pieces from Nye's Machine and threw them in. Great stuff. Machined aluminum. Pricey, but you know, buy once, cry constantly. The observant will notice that my badges are backwards. That's because I have 1969 fiberglass fenders on my 68. So you just have to swap the badges side by side, or side to side, to make them fit. Of course, I could have gotten the right 1969 badges when I ordered them, but I thought it's more fun to keep this little Easter egg on the car. Plus, it annoys the purists. I have this junky 2-stroke hammer drill. I'm trying to warm up to get the lift anchors drilled. It usually takes a long time to warm up, but it's so cold. I've been running it for about 10 minutes and it still won't rev yet. Ugh. So I have a new fuel tank to go in the car. This is from Tanks Inc. It's an EFI fuel tank, so it has 2 different sending units in it. One where the EFI pump goes, and then I have this generic RV sender unit. Couldn't reuse the factory one because the tank takes a 5-bolt style. So I'll be throwing this in to the car. It's the same capacity because it's got the corners cut out. Not that I need it, it was the same price, but if you were to mini tub the car, this gives you more clearance for the wheels and tires, but the tank is a little bit deeper to compensate. And it's got a removable filler neck, which is the worst part about getting the factory tank in and out, so I'm pretty excited about that. Now, this is a bit annoying. I got the tank in, and I cut a hole in the bed where I thought the senders were going to end up, but it turns out that they end up really just under this cross member, just a hair. So I'm going to loosen the tank straps and bend them and see if I can get the tank to just sit back another inch or two. There we are. That's much better. So I can definitely get a wrench on that and get the AN fittings in and out without having to pull the tank. Yeah, it's just another example of how the El Caminos are total afterthoughts. Because I think on the Chevelle they have a hatch in the bed where you can get to this, or in the trunk rather. And of course on an actual truck like a C10 you can take the bed off, which is just 6 bolts. But on the El Camino you have to drop the whole tank, or you have to take the body off to get to the top of the tank. So that's the tank side of the fuel lines done. I already had this stainless steel braided line sending for the carb setup. So I just have this goofy little foot-long pony line to go to the pressure side. And then the return side is a brand new line, just nylon braided AN fittings on both sides running up to the front of the vehicle. Oh, I'm missing a few parts to go any further on the fuel system. So in the meantime, I'm turning my attention to swapping the rear end. The car has a 10 bolt in it right now, and I picked up this Chevelle 12 bolt a while ago, which I need to put back together, and then I'll be putting in the car. Got this for a real song and dance. I think I paid about 400 bucks for it, which is pretty crazy if you know what these typically go for. It came from a resto shop. They had it in a customer car, and the pinion nut backed off on the highway. The pinion gear dropped into the case a little bit, did a bit of damage. So I think they got the whole thing warranted and they got a whole new axle assembly. So they just wanted to get rid of this one quick. I don't really know what the whole deal was, but there's really nothing wrong with it. I mean, check this out. Obviously the pinion gear did a number on the carrier. It is a 373 with a posi, just like I have in the car now. But there's actually really no damage on the pinion gear. So I'm just gonna run it. I've got a new pinion nut, a seal, C-clips for the axle shafts. So we'll put it back together and make sure it patterns right. I need to take the brakes off of the car and put them on this axle once I figure out that it's good. It also came with some really trick stuff like this upgraded yoke. I'm not sure if it's a 1350 like what's in the car, if it's a 1410. I need to measure it, see if I need a conversion U-joint. And it also came with these strange axle shafts, chromoly, which is a pretty wicked upgrade. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's going to be unbreakable behind this combination, but I think it's certainly going to make the M20 Muncie the weak point. I might have mentioned this previously. I switched out my lower control arms for these adjustable units. These Heim ends bent a little bit almost immediately. It's hard to see, but they've bent just enough that they don't actually adjust anymore. They won't screw in or out. So, I mean, what's the point? And that was just street driving, not doing any hard launches. So I'm worried that if I take these to a prepped track and do some launches, those Heims are really going to bend and pull the axle forward. And not only that, I mean, if they snap, that's real bad. Because of that, I'm going to put the boxed arms that I had back in. Because I'm going back to a smaller tire, I don't need the adjustable arms to push the axle back a little bit anymore. The bushings on these are super worn out and they're not the factory size. So I 3D printed a new set of bushings out of thermoplastic polyurethane. They go right in and I think they should be just fine. Hey, Gwen even brought me out a beer. What a happy day. Well, we were almost completely cooked because I had the pinion nut, but I forgot that I needed a pinion washer. But I dug through the parts bin and I found one for a Toyota 8-inch. So I just need to bore it out a little bit on the lathe and we'll be back in business. Beauty. There is no doubt in my mind that that is good enough. So that's the 10 bolt out. Next I need to pull the drum brakes out, so I need to get the cover off so I can get the C-clips out. Wonder how long that's been like that. That's probably fine. In the rear, junky air shocks are coming out and junky factory style shocks are going back in. So today is tomorrow. The 12 bolt is about ready to go in. The brakes from the 10 bolt swapped right over. I just had to drill the drums out to take the 1/2-inch studs, have all the axle shafts in, swapped out the lower arms like I said I was going to do, new shocks in, well, new old shocks, and tomorrow morning I'll slap the axle back in. In the front end, these junky old shocks are coming out and these sweet double adjustable Viking shocks are going in. Just takes a bit of clearancing with a die grinder to fit them in the factory arms. There's the before, there's the after, just to fit the bigger shock body, and they go right in. Pulled the transmission out of the car. It might need some resealing, and anyways, pulling it out makes taking the engine out easier. So engine's out of the car. Main reason is I need to replace this oil pan because I scraped it off on the road and had to weld it back together. And I need to do the rear main seal while the engine's out. And then I'm just gonna look over the top end, pull the valve covers, and make sure everything's looking good before I toss it back in. Starting to put stuff back together now. So this clutch has been in the car for a couple of years. It's just a kind of stock replacement, generic small block Chevy clutch. Some heat marks, but not that bad. But gonna upgrade to a McLeod clutch. This one's dual material, ceramic on one side, organic on the other. I think it's rated 500 foot-pounds or something like that, so that should be plenty. And the flywheel I had resurfaced last time I put the car together, so you can still see there's still good crosshatch on it, so that's going straight back in. And I just have a thread chase, not a tap. Gonna run that down on all the crankshaft holes and all the flywheel holes to get all the thread locker out, so I get accurate torque results. I've got the master cylinder for the clutch put in the car. This is from American Powertrain, converting over from a mechanical clutch to the hydraulic. I had to do some work on the firewall. I'll throw some pictures in there, just a little sandwich plate to take the bolt pattern. And then I've got the actual hydraulic clutch on the transmission here. So I measured, as per the instructions, the depth here and then the depth on the bell housing. And I actually have negative clearance, so I would need a spacer between the transmission and the bell housing to get the right clearance for the throwout bearing. Now I have the bell housing pressure washed and back on the car, and for that reason, with needing to order a spacer, and as well just thinking more about this, I looked up the casting number here. I wasn't sure about it, and this is a bell housing from a 57 Chevy. So this is a cast aluminum bell housing that's 70 years old, and the more I think about it, I'm not comfortable with how potentially unsafe this is. I'm going to be putting probably 4 times the amount of torque it's created for from factory through it, and launching it, sidestepping the clutch on a prepped surface. I'm just not comfortable with the possibility of this coming apart, and a flywheel and a clutch potentially sawing my legs in half. So I've gone ahead and ordered a Lakewood bell housing and an SFI rated flywheel, and I'm going to be putting those in instead, and I'm going to feel a lot better about that. I'm going to have to wait for those parts to come in, probably take about 2 weeks. So I've got a bunch of other stuff to work on in the meantime, and I'll keep throwing the car together, working around it, and I might just cut the end of the video here. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.